Hello, everyone, and welcome to Turnabout podcast. I'm your host, Lucy,
And I'm Aris.
and welcome to the 12th episode, I think.
12th episode.
12th episode. Wow. So much. So much already. Today's episode is going to be on our favorite and least favorite writing moments. But before that, as in each week.
It's not just that though.
What is it more?
I totally jumped in front of you like
Tell me.
Victoria Justice.
We all sing.
We all sing. It's basically also... So the way we're going to do it is I'm going to be guessing and Lucy's going to... We're going to be guessing each other's and then we're going to be revealing our favorite and least favorite writing moments. But also it's about pointing out inconsistencies.
It's the writing episode. Let's just call it that, the writing episode. But before doing that, we need to talk about our week's shout out.
Yes. So this week's weekly featured artist is... I think it's a she. It's Mrs. Pixel. Her username on Tumblr is cortaunatijera.
Oh my god. Are you Spanish?
Yes, I am.
Oh my
god. Which basically means... I'm not sure exactly what it means, but if I translate it exactly, it means short a scissors. No, it's not tarjeta, it's corta una tijera, I'm sorry. But it still means short a scissors. So, okay, we chose this. Here's some backstory. There's not a lot to go on to, but it's really special because not only is it excellent artwork, like absolutely amazing artwork, but it's also kind of special to us because within the past year after Corona struck, me and Lucy have started getting into Miyazaki films, aka Studio Ghibli.
Yes.
Ghibli? I'm not sure. But we both really loved Howl's Moving Castle. And basically, Mrs. Pixel redraws famous scenes from Howl's Moving Castle with Apollo and Clavier.
Which is adorable.
It is adorable.
And also Clavier as Howls is something that I can not unsee now.
A blonde European who's really seductive.
Yes.
What else do you want?
Yes.
Also, did you notice in the one where Apollo is holding the flame that the flame is Emma Sky?
Yes, I was gonna say that. It's so cute.
It's excellent. Really just
Emma Sky as Calcifer is adorable. And I think, so Apollo is Sophie, but I think Trucy's Marco you can see her in the drawing of so I think it fits really nicely. I think it's so cute.
And I like how it's Apollo Justice themed.
Definitely.
We don't have many artists covering that game specifically.
Yeah, and usually when they do, they also cover like the trilogy. So it's refreshing to see an artist that's just committed on Apollo Justice. I like that.
Mrs. Pixel also covered some not Howl's Moving Castle scenes, which is basically the one I'm thinking of is the pink one I sent you, which is Trucy taking a picture of
of them kissing or going for a kiss.
Trying to smooch Apollo.
Yes.
Oh, look at how well she did Athena.
I love Athena.
And she also did DGS, the guy from DGS, which we haven't played yet.
No.
Imagine how much material we'll have after we play those games as well for this podcast.
Unbelievable. Yeah.
Where the fuck is that localization? But, I mean, if there's reviews from Taiwan.
Yeah, so it might be coming. But honestly, you still haven't played Professor Layton versus Phoenix Wright. So we could also do something on that.
We're not getting into that.
You can't see me, but I'm pointing vindictively with my pen.
With a pen.
Yes.
With a pen. A ballpoint big pen, really?
Yes. Those are my favorite pens.
I hate you.
I buy them in bulks. They give me such a rush. I love them. They're my favorite pens. They give me loads of satisfaction.
They don't have like support for the finger. I always hurt my fingers. I don't care.
I just love them. Like, look, I only write in them, and when I travel, I take them with me. Okay, this isn't a podcast about pens.
The pen. Hi guys, and welcome to the Pen Podcast.
Let's review different pens.
This week, ballpoint. Next week, gel.
Okay.
So yeah, please. As I said, it's a really brief shout out because there isn't much to go on, but the things that there are. Exactly,
it's both adorable and the attention to detail is spot on. Like, for instance, she drew Gavin as owls, but she has like the Gaviner. She put the Gaviner necklace, which is like such a nice touch, and the details are great. And it's adorable, and we think you should really go check it out.
Yes, please follow Mrs. Pixel or cortaunatijera. The Spanish accent is off the roof today. But yeah, when I was messaging her, I got to dust off my Spanish and just say muchas gracias, and that was it.
Well, that's enough.
Yeah. So thank you very much for giving us permission.
Yeah. And Howl's Moving Castle, if you haven't seen it, just please do. It's on Netflix where we are, and it's just such a feel-good movie, and the animation and the theme song, and it's really, really nice.
Yeah, like what really got me through coronavirus and lockdown and everything, like the situ, was watching Miyazaki movies.
Yeah.
Like Kiki's Delivery Service is an absolute favorite of mine.
Kiki is definitely my favorite Ghibli movie too. But Howl's Moving Castle is a close second, to be honest. So if you haven't, we really recommend them.
Yeah, like they're really excellent movies.
Definitely.
Okay, so with that out of the way, let's just, I guess, jump right into this week's subject.
Yes. Writing
from two creative writing students.
Yes. I kept thinking about that Grammarly ad. Writing is not that easy, but Grammarly can help. That sentence is grammatically correct, but it's wordy and hard to read.
Writing is not easy. Get this creative writing course we're taking, and you'll see.
And you'll want to die after. Yay! And your grading will make you want to do stuff.
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Okay. So do you want to go first, or should I go first?
Go first.
But you should. Then you're gonna guess first and what my picks are.
Then I first. Because, like... the thing is, like... I don't have a clue of what yours are.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
I think I have an idea about yours.
I have a semi-idea about yours, but, like, I'm not sure. There's a song for... I'm like, oh, I know this one is yours. But for the first game... First of all, I'm gonna say it. I had some issues finding bad writing moments.
Same.
Because it's all excellent.
No, the trilogy for me are just one sentence notes, and then when the second trilogy hits, it's chunks.
Yeah. But to be honest, there's some of mine that are super random. So I don't expect you to find all of them.
Basically when me and Lucy were discussing what subject we should do for this week, I told her, let's do inconsistencies, good writing and bad writing. And she was like, when Godot said, I can only see red, or like when he started bleeding with tears. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then I kept thinking, Lucy's going to have way more specific shit than me.
Yeah.
And
mine are like, this line at this moment really annoyed me.
Yeah, mine is right off the bat general stuff. Because I don't blame you. I think it's better. Yours is better content, but I didn't grow up with the series for me to be so accustomed to the lines.
I totally get it. So for you, I was thinking, is your favorite writing moment is just basically defending Edgeworth as a whole?
No.
Is it? Then I don't fucking know. Wait.
What about worst? Which is even harder.
It's so hard. Can you just give me a clue of which case it's in?
I'll tell you right off the bat. Because it's super general stuff.
Tell me.
So for best, I said Manfred von Karma as a villain.
That's a good one.
And basically the bullet being like, when it all just, because this is the first game, we didn't have standards for the game, we didn't have expectations, we just went right in. And later on in the games, when someone says something which doesn't really fit in, you kind of notice it and pick up on it, and you think about it a lot. But in this case, someone said, I don't remember who it was, but it was like, oh yeah, after he lost that one trial in his spotless record, he like not lost, but got that like penalty for the
like fraudulent
Morgan Fay. Was it Morgan? No, it's not Morgan. What's Misty?
Misty Fay.
Misty Fay incident. He goes on a vacation. I was like, oh, that's nice. Where did he go? Like the Bahamas or something. And like Phoenix is like, Vish, let me tell you something. That fucking vacation he took was because he got shot and he keeps the bullet preserved in his own fucking body.
Like, because it's like it drizzle a good amount of information for you to pick up on it, but then you're like, oh my god, they told us that because it was related. It's so good.
And the second thing for best I said was, it's not necessarily a really good, but it took balls to do it. It was killing Mia off. That took balls.
I get that.
Like,
such a, like, because as a player, you kind of instantly fall in love with Mia. She's so cool. And then, bam, she's killed. Like, it's really, really
I didn't want her to die. And they should have, they had to think of the risk that they were pulling, that people would be turned off by that.
Yeah.
But they did it in the second episode. We don't even have an investigation with Mia.
I know. But at the same time, I wouldn't have it any other way now that I played the game.
Yes, of course not.
Amazing. So what's your least favorite moment?
This was hard to choose, but I said having Rise from the Ashes come right after Maya's departure.
Oh, I do get that. That's a really good point.
Because we've talked about this podcast before that it takes away from Emma's character. I mean, one of the main reasons I dislike Emma, I kind of dislike her. I'm like, my hate for her fluctuates. Sometimes I love her and sometimes I hate her. Well, actually, I never love her, but sometimes I like her.
Yeah.
Sometimes I tolerate her. And sometimes I absolutely loathe the bitch.
I who really likes her think it's unfair that she's like presented as this replacement of Maya, which is like... So of course you're going to compare them, and I'm sorry, but I just like Maya better, so it always makes her come off kind of bad. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Like, what if Rise of the Ashes just frustrates me? Its placement? Why?
Yeah.
Okay.
But you see that there's not something bad in my worst about the main game.
Okay.
I couldn't think of something, honestly.
I had loads of trouble finding this one. Do you want to guess?
I can probably guess. I mean, but if it's something specific, again, I won't... Is a good thing your best thing about... Is it either the character of Maya Fey in Loda Heart?
No.
We're not going to find a single one.
We're not going to find a single one. Mine are... We have actually a very similar one. One of my favorite is finding the bullet with the metal detector on Manfred and Karma. It's amazing. And the other one is... I love the backstory of Edgeworth, Phoenix, and Larry with the school money, and Phoenix being accused of stealing the food. It's just like one of my favorite moments, and I think it's like such a nice writing moment, like to create, to make players care. I just really
Okay.
enjoy it.
Just being completely honest with you, I wasn't too keen on that.
Really?
It's not that it's bad. I'm just like, okay, children. Sure.
Yes, but that's because you hate children.
It's not only that. I was like, it's kind of naive or whatever. I mean, I was fine with it. It's not that I wasn't fine with it, but I'm not a huge fan of the three of them being like, oh, who stole the lunch money? And the flashback having those sepia fonts. Yeah, Phoenix looking a skinny ass bitch crying. And basically, have you ever heard of Bridge to Terabithia? The
Yes.
book or the movie?
The movie. I've seen the movie.
Reminds me of that book so much. I've read the book. We had to do it in school, and like,
oh my god, that must have traumatized you.
it was like in first grade of middle school.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it
Monsters.
was like the school parts were horrible, and it just like a desperate childhood like flashback moment reminds me of that book.
But like, so every time I play that section, I will cry. Like, it makes me so emotional. And I don't know why. For me, it's so good. It really pulls my empathy veins, and I'm like, oh, I'm all in. And but then again, I'm very sensitive to children crying.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, I just want to cuddle you. And I don't know, because also, we've mentioned this before, I was their age when I played it. So it wasn't like, oh, kids crying. It was like, oh my God, that could be me. And having like another kid's his age stand up for him, I really like that. So that's a very sentimental thing. My least favorite is so random because I was like, it was so hard to find. But the only thing it's not even my least favorite. It's definitely like, when I played it, I didn't really care and I didn't really pick up. But if I had to choose one from that game, that would be it. It's the fact that the final evidence from the second case is, oh, you turn around the receipt and it's actually where she bought the lamp.
Yeah.
And I was just like, they never turned around the receipt during the whole investigation. It was just like, it makes sense because it's a video game. But when it happened, I was just like,
Yeah.
So that's my least favorite. But it's
Do you
very
agree now that
peaky.
Do you agree now that I mentioned my worst that it's the same for you?
The placement of Rise of the Ashes?
Yeah.
I mean, my least favorite writing of the moment is Rise of the Ashes as a case right after that. Like, I don't like it. For me, in my head, to like calm myself, I think of it as a DLC.
We've talked about this with Snap as well.
Yeah.
That the placement it came after a really long case.
And after an excellent case that like it rounds the story up.
And although the premise is really intriguing, like a double murder at the same time, you have this like couple of you have this sister relationship, which reminds Phoenix of Mia and Maya. But at the same time, the beginning of the case isn't as strong as, let's say, the previous 4 cases. And it wasn't enough for me to keep playing because, for those of you who don't know, I played Rise from the Ashes. It's the absolutely last thing I've played from the series. And it's also kind of frustrating to think that such an important part coming up in the next games, which is basically Edgeworth's departure from the prosecutor's office, is put in the DLC. I mean, they should have said that after Manfred von Karma was found guilty.
I know. It's just like, and also, it's so long.
It is very long.
Rise from the Ashes is incredibly long, and you kind of, for me, playing it, you get to... I'm so bad with the names of the case. I always refer to them as the numbers. Turnabout Goodbye.
Me. Good. Turnabout Goodbyes, yeah.
You get to the end of Turnabout Goodbyes. It's already a long case, which kind of is draining. You put all of your energy into that because you want to, like, finish the story. What happened to Maya's mom? What happened with Edgeworth's dad?
Yeah.
What's up with Manfred von Karma? And then you finally get to that moment. You have the reveal. It's super satisfying. And then you have another super long case where Maya is not here, and it doesn't make... It's just... Rise from the Ashes as a standalone case is great. Placed in that, I don't love it, you know?
Because I loved it after I played it. I really enjoyed playing it, but like... I keep telling this every time we mention the first game, but my experience with the game was that I started playing it in high school. I didn't want to use a walkthrough, so I abandoned it for a couple of years. And then after I graduated, before I came to uni, I started playing it again. And basically, I started using the walkthrough. But after I finished Turnabout Goodbyes, I started playing Rise from the Ashes. I stopped playing on the second investigation of Rise from the Ashes. I skipped to Justice for All, and then when I met you, Lucy, I was playing...
Trials and Tribulation.
I think it was... No. Farewell, My Turnabout. I played Farewell, My Turnabout in the dorm room. And then I played all 6 games. Investigations 1 this summer, Investigations 2 at the end of summer, and then I played Rise from the Ashes this September.
And I think like that's why you've been able to enjoy Rise of the Ashes so much. It's like you played it as a standalone case.
But it still has that stain from the first time I attempted to play it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of difficult for it to... It's difficult for it to stand on its own. Not stand on its own, sorry. To continue after Turnabout Goodbyes. It's exactly what you've said. So yeah.
Rise from the Ashes ideally would have been a case in Justice for All, maybe before the Turnabout in Karain village. Like right before Maya comes back, you have another case. But again, it's too long. It's an impossible case to fit. But so I do understand your thinking for flaws of the first game, but it was hard to find. Okay. Second game?
Justice for All, the black sheep of the trilogy.
I think I can kind of guess for you.
Go on.
Is your least favorite element Turnabout Big Top?
It's in there.
Okay.
But no, it's not.
Is it how the murder occurred?
It's in there, but it's not the worst part of that game.
It's part of the murder. That's your least favorite moment.
What do you mean?
Is your least favorite moment a specific element of the murder?
No.
Okay. The underage girl dating Jeffree Star?
No. It's not Turnabout Big Top.
Oh, it's not. Oh.
No, I told you, it's in there. Turnabout Big Top is definitely part of the worst. I have it written down, but it's not the worst.
Oh, I know. It's Andrea and Andrews being pressured to testify, even though...
No.
Then I don't know.
Okay, should I start with best or worst?
Worst.
So, my worst 2 things, in terms of writing, are Morgan Faye's arrest.
Oh, and where you don't get to talk to her or anything after that.
Wait, she doesn't have a breakdown. We've discussed this last week. She doesn't have a breakdown. She orchestrates everything, and we don't see any of that. And then the other thing is Francisca's motives.
Oh.
this famed prosecutor who killed Edgeworth's dad gets arrested, and his daughter returns. And instead of her being mad at Phoenix for proving her dad to be a murderer and ruining his streak, she's mad at Edgeworth?
Yeah.
What?
It's just so weird that they would go out of their way to create a story that makes even less sense than what people would assume.
I mean, you have the perfect setup, and I don't know why you screw it up. I mean, she can't be mad at Edgeworth as well for allowing Phoenix to win and humiliating her dad and shit, but she has to be fucking furious at Phoenix for humiliating her dad and having him arrested. And I was expecting that moment to come in Turnabout and Reunion. It didn't happen, and then I was expecting her to say it in Turnabout Big Top when they're talking about Edgeworth in the lodge area behind Mo's like room, and she never says it. Like it never happens. So yeah, those are my two main issues. And then I said Turnabout Big Top, and in brackets I said Acro's forced sympathy that doesn't really work. Most jokes.
Most jokes.
And the pacing. Ben and Trillo being completely annoying. And the murder method. Of course.
Of course. Makes sense.
What do you think about best?
Is it the airport scene?
No.
Then I don't know.
I said Farewell My Turnabout.
Oh. Yeah. But
something super general.
The airport scene isn't Turnabout. Farewell My Turnabout for my defense.
I guess. It's an epilogue though.
Yeah.
I said Farewell My Turnabout bracket sans the exhausting trial and Adrian Andrews being pressured and using basically her attempted suicide as leverage for her to testify. But other than that, something as random as feeding an ultimate villain's cat is just writing gold.
I know.
For me.
It's really, really good.
It takes a cake.
It's excellent.
So for you, best I'd have to say Franziska von Karma.
Okay, it's not that, but it's linked to it.
Okay. Is it her getting shot?
No, I'm just gonna say it. It's like when Franziska comes in and saves the trial and helps us in Farewell My Turnabout, and she's like, "Stop the trial! I have like the final evidence." And it's just like.
Does that happen?
That happens. She like gets shot and she like carries something or sends someone to give the final evidence.
Really?
I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember this.
I have this clear image of like, I'm going to look for it. But I don't know. It's just like, so it's kind of Franziska von Karma. I love that character. And like her character development from being just horrible to us to helping us is great.
I know, it's great. I hope that exists, then. I hope that moment exists.
Yes, I have it. Look, you don't remember that thing when she burst into the courtroom?
No, I didn't remember this.
In Farewell My Turnabout?
No. Because I never finished the second playthrough.
Hello?
What? Can you hear me?
You were frozen. I couldn't hear you.
Okay. I haven't finished my second playthrough, so I forgot.
But I'm pretty sure it happens.
I mean, it's been well over a year since I played it. So what about your worst? Is it the murder method in Turnabout Big Top?
My worst is the cape attaching to the murder. It annoys me so much.
Yeah.
I want to strangle something / someone. It's just so incredibly frustrating.
Why didn't they say that he just tied a cape to the thing?
So dumb. It's so
Oh, we didn't say
dumb.
spoilers again.
Yeah, that's a given at this point. It's just like, oh, the cat detaches and then the wind blows it, and it's just so stupid.
And also Mo witnessing the whole thing, like if the cape attached onto the thing,
Yeah.
then how did Mo, when he looked out the window, not notice this?
Mo, I'm sorry to say this, sweetie, but you're dumb as a rock, and this had to
Yes,
be
he is,
said.
and has the worst dialogue after Phineas Filch.
Yes. So those were my favorite and least favorite. It was kind of easier to find.
Yeah.
Also, my a moment that I love from that game is when like Marangard has this like black Magatama thing, like black unlock. What's it called?
The locks.
The locks. That's the word I'm looking for. Like,
yes.
and you're like, oh shoot, my client has this secret that I need to find out, and then you dig a little deeper and you realize he's the culprit, and he like shows you how maybe this face with like the scar. It's just brilliant writing. Like Madame Guard, Francisca, great characters and an amazing setup.
Yeah. And now from an easy one, we go to the hardest one of all. Trials and Tribulations. Do you want to guess?
So, is your least favorite moment? I have two in mind for you. Is it either Godot sexist line?
No.
Or Rondelite?
The worst thing I said is the stolen turnabout structure. Rondelite might be annoying, but I don't consider it bad writing. I think he's just fucking annoying.
Yeah.
I think for them to make him annoying it's good writing. Oh, but now that you said Godot's misogynist lines, that's an inconsistency as well.
That's my least favorite one.
Which you didn't really have in mind until I pointed it out to you.
Yeah, but now it's all I can think about.
Yeah, it really bothered me. That really bothered me as well. Good job on like actually knowing me better than myself.
I know. It's just like it doesn't make sense in any shape or form.
It doesn't make sense for him to diss Francisca like that if he cares so much about Mia.
Exactly. Like, and we know why... Mia wouldn't be with a misogynist.
Yes, and that's why... Oh, this gets under my nerves. It's because of those lines that people on the internet say that Mia and Diego Armando were... like he was... They were in an abusive relationship. That's not true. That's not true.
That's not true.
So my worst, I said the stolen turnabout structure because I don't like that case. I almost hate it, but not having a murder and having something be stolen and then introducing the murder but not even showing us the crime scene is really shitty and the area in Kane Bullard's office is horrible and the computer room there's Larry but it's just messy and just the structure, I don't like it. I had a hard time with that case.
Yeah, I do get that.
So you said your worst as well. Do you want to guess my best?
Is it just Godot?
No.
I don't know. Tell me.
I said the entire game.
Oh, good.
That's what I said. And then I put a bracket and said some of the highlights are Bridge to Turnabout, playing as Mia, Godot, and Dahlia.
Amazing.
Just
the entire game. No, I agree.
This is a masterclass in writing a video game, writing a fucking trilogy, introducing the Fae
clan
in the first game, and then coming full circle and resolving every single thing in the third game with an amazing case. Good. Excellent.
Excellent stuff.
Is yours Bridge to Turnabout?
No, mine are like incredibly specific. Once again, so one of them is the red tears line when at the end Godot bleeds from his mask, and he's like, "I can't see red, so those must be my tears." I'm just like, oh my god, makes me want to cry. It's so cute. The second one is there's a moment at the end of Bridge Turnabout where Godot can see Mia living through Phoenix, and there's like a double objection.
Yeah, the objection.
It's so good. It's so good. And my last one is at the end of Trials and Tribulation. I think it ends on that. You get a picture of Mia and Maya like breaking the urn and repairing it, and it's just so adorable. Like because it's an incident that's like you already know about, but now it's so cute. So those were my those
are very specific.
Very very specific, yes.
But here's another opportunity to mention something I've mentioned at least 1,000 times. There's a comment, I think it's on
yes, I know what you're talking
a really
about.
a really old video of Fragrance of Dark Coffee. There's a comment which says Godot not seeing red is such an excellent writing moment because he blames Phoenix for Mia's death, and he can't see the color red, so it only makes sense if he blames Phoenix for Mia's death because the real murderer is red-white and he can't see red.
It's so good.
That, just every time I say it out loud, it sends chills down my spine from how good it is. Honestly. Like, how?
It's so interesting.
Like, even not going to these lengths, having your character be based off Godot, like waiting for Godot, which even isn't like Shakespeare level, universally known. It's this play like which is it's pretty famous, but like the implications of naming him after a play which is a character that never comes, and instead the character wakes up and no one is there for him. What? Just A+, A*, whatever you want to give it. It's the entire game is a masterpiece.
Like, don't get me wrong, I do love Edgeworth, but Godot is my favorite prosecutor of all time. It's just like
same.
So good. The backstory, the music, it's so good.
I wish he could return.
Me too. And we only saw him for 3 trials. Isn't that insane? Like,
it is insane. It's almost as insane as when you think that you've only faced Francisca for 2 cases.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Definitely. Damn you, Edgeworth.
Edgeworth always comes back. So we've done the trilogy, which was, I think, it was a bit harder to find inconsistencies in the trilogy, for sure.
As I told you, like, it's just one-liners, and then it starts being chunks. And now I think we're going on to one which you love ripping into. But go on, guess my best and worst. I had a really hard time finding what's best.
Honestly,
shockingly,
same.
I know I always defend this game. But and you can vouch for how much I pissed you off when you had me play it, and I was like, no, it's good. Nonsense. But
to the stake you go.
Although I defended, I really had a hard time finding something like good in the writing.
So, is your favorite moment just Le Miroir in general?
No.
I don't think we're gonna guess each other's.
We're not, but this is too much fun.
Just Turnabout Senna Renade.
No. What about worst?
His worst. Vera Mission?
No, but fuck that bitch.
That case, just in general, the last case.
It's in there. It's definitely in there.
Then the second
I'll
one?
tell you. I'll tell you.
Tell me.
Best, I said Olga Orly and Gael Dune.
Definitely Gael Dune for sure.
Him removing the noodle bowl of his head, and bitch, he actually had stinky ass noodles rotting on his head that wasn't hair. And Amazing. He's an actual doctor, like certified doctor, 7 days a week.
Wet ass noodles.
Wet ass Gael Dune noodles. But yeah, that's it. Those are my favorite parts.
And your least favorite?
Should I go over the list?
Yes.
Apollo Justice. A Phoenix Wright diet, basically.
Yes, like, we get it. You're out of control in your life. No need to...
No, it's not even out of control.
It's...
He's just a bottom. Like a power bottom. Okay. And he has no personality. But, like, rolled up sleeves and his fucking cords of steel are, like, interesting personality traits.
I was talking about Phoenix diet.
What?
Didn't you just say Phoenix diet?
Like, if it's Coke and Coke Light.
Oh, okay.
Apollo Justice is like
I thought you were talking
Coke
about
Phoenix.
Phoenix, quote unquote, raisin juice addiction in it.
No.
So I was like,
well, that's also a really bad moment.
That's also a bad moment. Like, we get it, he's homeless, and no need to make him an alcoholic. Like, he's our childhood hero. Please shut up.
You've had murders in your game, and you threaten a woman to release stuff about her fucking suicide, but you don't want to insert that Phoenix is addicted to wine.
Yeah. Just like,
what?
Shut the fuck up.
But yeah, I said Apollo Justice, basically him being an uninteresting and empty character. Then I said the time jump.
True.
I hate the time jump.
The color palette?
That's not writing.
Oh yeah, that's true.
You'll snatch this opportunity to say everything bad with this game. But I said the Jerry system. Returning characters such as Phoenix and Emma. Turnabout succession structure. Basically, jumping from past to future didn't make sense. Troop Grammary and their downfall. That story at the end about who would kill the old man. I didn't give two shits about who did it or how it happened. I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, am I playing a different game? Realistic explanation for Apollo's cock ring despite supernatural in-game universe. You have a stone. We've discussed this with Snap. You have a stone which literally tells you if someone is lying.
Yeah.
You don't need to explain why Apollo's cock ring forces some veins or shit. It came from like that special metal.
And you're like, oh, you're able to concentrate more. Just say it's magic.
I said Zach Grammary as a character. Horrible writing. Just absolutely despicable writing. And then Christoph Gavin's motive. Why did Phoenix lose his badge? I don't know. Why did we
he was just mad.
Why? Why did we jump 7 years to show us Hobo Phoenix? Like, why? Why was Christoph so mad?
No one knows.
And why did a teenage Clavier 2000s Y2K glasses Prosecutor destroy Phoenix after Phoenix managed to honestly defend the unexplainable and the undefendable for example, Bridge to Turnabout, you think the judge and the court system would have more respect for him after all the shit he's done?
Exactly.
But it doesn't make sense.
It
it's
doesn't
not
make sense. Phoenix just being back in that game does not make sense. It is so unnecessary.
So, yeah, that's my list.
Okay.
This is one of the shorter ones, by the way.
Oh my god. I tried to pick one per game, but I agree with all of them. Definitely.
Okay, thank you. Is the best one Phoenix Wright?
No.
I don't know what the best one is.
The best one is like, I don't know. I remember which is interesting is like my best one is also kind of a worst one as well. It's a complex situation.
What?
I think after the credits where Lemuel reveals to Phoenix that she's the mother of who's in the boat, it's like a nice moment. It's like, oh, but then you're like, this bitch just it like the mirror backstory always confuses me. Like, she's blind and she got shot, so she abandoned her children. Just like so weird. Here's my thoughts on that. Because like, why didn't she take care of Apollo?
Is that it?
That's the best thing I could find.
What about worst?
Oh,
is worst Turnabout Succession?
Worst, I just wrote the Papa hat outfit.
Ah, yes, of course. A definite Phoenix writing moment.
Flip-flops. Someone had to write those.
I thought it would be Turnabout Succession. The case that broke you.
Well, for like, the thing is, like, I was trying to find super specific moments. But if it was more general, I think I would have said the same thing for best moments. Like, Olga Early is a queen, and Gael Dune is the best character to come out of it, and Trucy is great. Like, I do like Trucy. And for worst moment, just Turnabout Succession disappointed me so much that I quit.
Turnabout Succession is such a disappointment. It's such a bad case, and I don't know why people keep defending it.
But even the first case, when you defend Phoenix, and he's dressed in that Papa hat outfit.
Are you crying?
No, but I'm tearing up. It was so fucking bad. It was so disappointing, and I remember playing like, what the fuck is this?
My co-host, the most dramatic person on this planet.
I'm a very sensitive person. It was just like so bad.
If we were frenemies podcast, you'd be Trisha.
Oh, for sure. Of course. I mean, you've never seen me angry like Trisha.
You've seen me angry.
I've seen you angry. I've never seen you cry, and you've never seen me angry.
I've seen you pissed off.
You've seen me annoyed, but you haven't seen me like full rage.
You haven't seen me full rage either. You've only heard me full rage. Oh, no, you don't want to be around in like a close proximity when I'm full rage.
I'll take shelter.
I'll tell you. Anyways, this is not Frenemies podcast. So I was just admiring how in Apollo Justice, Phoenix loses his badge, and Turnabout Succession is the case that broke Lucie.
I hate it so much. So yeah, but I just agreed with your list in general. Like, there's so Turnabout Succession, just the way it's written, it's so poorly executed. The jury system,
it's bad.
MAGA. What's it called? The thing where they go back in time. It's just that's what it is.
Why? How can he go back in time? How? How can he get evidence from the future to the past? Explain.
You can't see me, but I'm shrugging. But
it's so irritating. And for what? For a fucking poison stamp? Really? Is that what broke the great Phoenix Wright? A poison stamp and a motive?
It makes me so mad.
I'm about to pop off.
It makes me so mad, like, to think that it's so frustrating, because I was looking at a YouTube video, and it was a really good point. Like, if you're gonna make a sequel out of a big series that everyone loves, the whole thing is like, to find another plot point, you're gonna have to undermine everything that happened before. And it was about Star Wars, like how making a sequel to it, like, oh, at the end of the Jedi Returns, everything is solved. But then, oh no, actually, there's a new baddie in town, and everything that you did was all for nothing because the balance is not restored. And that's kind of how I felt in Apollo Justice. Like, it had to destroy the myth of Phoenix Wright for Apollo to rise from it, and it was so disappointing to see.
That's okay. Look, when I said time jump isn't the worst, it's because Phoenix is in the mix. If they had a time jump and made it an Apollo Justice game, fine. Have your fun. Make it unrelated. If you're gonna mention Phoenix and have him be in the game, just have him be mentioned. Just have him be this legendary defense attorney from ages ago, and no one knows what happened. He might gotten lost. That you don't have to undermine his work.
Exactly.
You don't have to take his badge away.
Or just then make him the boss. Make him like the boss of the office. It wouldn't have had to change the story that much. It could have just been like, oh, he was trained under Kristoff, and now he works with Phoenix.
But you had to go ahead and make him homeless.
And make him wear flip-flops.
And honestly, why?
I'm so mad.
And just give a character and personality to Apollo. Like, make him the protagonist of the game. Don't give me some wishy-washy shit because you didn't want to disappoint anyone.
And as much as I love Trucy, maybe have someone who's not a young teenage girl could have been a good way of differentiating her from Maya.
Yes.
Like, she just looks like Magic Maya. And, you know,
which Maya was already magic, bitch.
Yeah, like, fake Magic Maya. And so it's just like, you know, Trucy could have been a bit older. She could have been older than Apollo. It could have been, like, a young dude. It just, like, it felt like they were reusing the same formula while destroying the myth. It was just...
Yeah. I think this was the beginning of the downfall of writing for the game series.
The thing is, like...
Apart from investigations.
I'm not really, like... I was looking at a video. It was, like, what your Ace Attorney ship says about you. It was really funny. I think I've sent it to you.
Yeah, maybe.
And it was talking about, like, one ship. It was like, oh, this means that your favorite second trilogy game is Dual Destiny. And I was going to ask you, like, what's your favorite second trilogy game?
Apollo Justice.
Apollo Justice?
Apollo Justice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But it's like a tough decision, right? Like
it is like, a really tough decision.
You don't really want to say any of them. It's not Spirit of Justice, of course.
Yours is Dual Destinies.
Mine is Dual Destinies. But it's Dual Destinies. Like, even the best from the second trilogy doesn't come close to the worst of the first trilogy.
I think after befriending me, you started seeing what the Dual Destinies flaws really are.
I've always, like, the thing is, even when I played it, I was like, some parts were bullshit, but I was willing to outlook them. And being with someone who's like, no, this is shit, is like, okay, I am aware of them now, but I don't care. You're going to be really mad at me.
I know it holds sentimental value for you, but I mean, I think having me constantly bash it definitely changed your stance from like a year ago.
You're going to be mad at me.
What?
I'm replaying it.
I hate you. I'm not mad at you. I just hate you right now.
Oh, that's great. Thank you.
How are you playing it? On your DS?
Yeah, I was like, I wanted to replay Apollo Justice, but I don't have it with me. It's in France. And then
Didn't you take Investigations with you back?
No, I didn't. Nor Investigation.
You bitch.
Nor Apollo Justice. Oh, wait.
No.
Maybe I did. Wait. I need to check one, please.
While you check, I caught myself saying bitch too many times this episode.
No, I didn't.
I hate when I do this. I hate when I say bitch.
You don't like the term bitch?
It's when like gay people think like they get a pass because they're not straight.
You think it's misogynist?
That it's like a term of endearment, but I think it's kind of misogynist. Like it holds a, like it kind of diminishes a woman. I don't want to say bitch anymore.
Okay, I support that.
Didn't you take investigations?
No, sorry.
You bitch!
I deserve it. So I was like, because I've been so little off-topic story, but I've been playing a game, but it's really 999, which is the game, is interesting, but it's all dialogue for now, and I don't get to do anything, and it's infuriating. And I was like, I need to just do something that I'm like familiar with. So I'm like, I'll just replay Apollo Justice, and now I don't have it. I'll just redo Investigation 1, and I don't have it. Why didn't
you take Investigations after Christmas?
I'll have my mom send it over to me. Okay? But for now, I'm replaying Turnabout Reclaimed. Because it's a fun case.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're not playing it from the beginning?
No. I'm just redoing Turnabout Reclaimed.
I don't hate you. I'm not mad at you.
Okay.
Who cares? Like, no. I went back and tried playing Turnabout Corner and Farewell My Turnabout before I bought the trilogy for Switch.
Yeah, like sometimes I just replay Recipe for Turnabout randomly because I love that case so much. It's just like Turnabout Reclaim is a case that I really enjoy. And I'm in quarantine.
That's fine.
I'm in lockdown. I need a little aquarium love. So... why are we talking?
Wait, which case were you playing?
The Aquatic Turnabout.
Oh, that's what I thought you said. Okay.
So it's a great segue into Dual Destiny.
Yes. Can you imagine my best and worst parts? Because the worst parts are, honestly, take up most of the notes.
Tell me. Give it to me, baby.
You're not gonna guess?
The whole game?
No, I'm not that.
The Turnabout Monstrous? The Monstrous Turnabout?
No. Mm-mm.
How little Athena is in the game?
That's in there.
Should
I tell you?
Yeah.
So for best, I said Bobby Fulbright's reveal.
Okay.
Bobby Fulbright.
Booby, of course.
Bobby's Fulbright's reveal. Except the fact that we don't see his face at the end. I think of that sometimes at night and honestly can't sleep. What does he look like?
I know.
What the fuck does he look like? What does he look like? I want to know. Legit. It's infuriating.
It is very frustrating.
I know you have the same issue.
And best moment? I can't even imagine, like, what would your best moment be? Is it Sasha?
No, this is best.
Oh, yeah. Oh, because he kept going off rail. Yeah. So what's your worst?
I can't see you.
Yeah, I know. I'll be back in a second. I just need to find something.
I want to look at your face when I start telling. So, here's the list for worst. Are you ready?
Tell me. Hit me.
Phoenix not telling Trucy and Apollo their siblings. The Jerry system not returning. Introducing Athena, but giving her absolutely nothing to do except for backstory used to set up the Prosecutor as a supposed villain shamelessly. Blackquill as a prosecutor and the liberties he's given in court, even though he's a literal convicted murderer in jail. The fact that he can break his chains, the fact that he's a fucking prosecutor. Well, he's also in prison. That I'm not even gonna attempt to unpack that. It's just what?
I know.
What? Anyway, the dark age of the law and the end justify the means.
Talk if I hear about that one sentence more time, we've heard a million times.
The end justifies the means, Athena. I'm not going to explain what it means, but you should hear it at least 3,000 million times.
Definitely.
Characters such as Juniper Woods and her transformation, as well as her classmates, making literally zero sense. Clavier Gavin returning for absolutely no reason. Phoenix getting his badge back and returning because they didn't have the balls to make Apollo Justice 2. Muddling Apollo's backstory and as a result sidelining Athena. The Mood Matrix. And that's it.
Okay.
That was short.
Yeah, for sure. I do agree. I do agree with loads of them. Like, when I was preparing for this video, I actually searched because I was like, I could not, like, I did my whole research on how many cases Athena is in charge of. She's in charge fully of the third one. She does.
No, she's not.
She is. I checked.
What?
I checked. She's in charge fully of the Johnny.
She's in charge of the investigation, but she doesn't hurt the.
She's in the trial.
Isn't it Apollo and she's his assistant?
That's for the monstrous turnabout.
Well then, but still, it's two people.
It's well.
The only standalone Athena case, like the one she handles on her own fully, is Turnabout Storyteller. That's the only one. Because in Turnabout Academy, she dresses up as Constance Court in the center, I think.
But she's still in charge of the whole thing. I thought so as well.
I don't consider it to be an Athena case.
Why?
Because what's his name? Aristotle Means does so bad damage to her that someone needs to step in and help her. As with Turnabout Storyteller and her needing help from Blackwell. Like that never happened before. And with Phoenix, it was Mia's ghost. Mia's spirit being channeled. But it's not considered a Mia case. It's just considered a Phoenix case.
I do get that.
But this one you have Apollo and Phoenix and everyone else chipping in to help her. It's not I don't consider it to be a standalone Athena case.
The thing is, so technically she's in charge of that case, and then for the first case, she does the tutorial, but then panics, and Phoenix come to help her.
Yeah,
so
I remember that.
She's the new character being brought in, and she's only in she's only in charge of one and a half of one. Like, it's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
Phoenix and Apollo get 2 cases. It's just like so upsetting because she's such a fun character, and then they give her Turnabout Storyteller, which has no investigation. It's just like
no, leave that for SOJ.
Yeah, but like still the way she's handled throughout the series is a shame.
Yeah.
So I agree with that point, but that wasn't my main thing.
It's the part I said that they introduced her. I've said this like a million times at this point, but if you're gonna make Phoenix Wright 4 be Apollo Justice, then stick to it despite the stigma formed around that game. If people didn't agree, go ahead with it. This was literally fan service gone wrong. They were scared from the backlash. They were scared of the backlash for Apollo Justice, and so they were like, Apollo Justice is gonna be in it. Phoenix is gonna get his badge back, so he's returning as well. That's another storyline. And here's Athena, a brand new character. And then you have her backstory, Apollo given backstory, Phoenix given his badge back. It's too much. And then the Dark Age of the Law, which is the complete definition of show don't tell. If you tell us it's the Dark Age of the Law and the end justifies the means, it doesn't mean anything until you actually show it.
Definitely.
But if you have one of the villains preaching it constantly, what the hell?
I'm just sending something unrelated. That'll be for later.
Okay. Yeah, I'm done with my rant.
Okay. I get that.
What was your best and worst part? I'm so angry right now.
You don't want to guess?
No.
My worst thing is this kind of nitpicky, but it's something that did annoy me. Bobby Fulbright being the... Like, I like the reveal. It was so shocking. But what I didn't like about it, it's basically the whole thing is explained by, oh, he's a highly trained killer. And just like, oh, so he's kind of like a superhuman. Like, usually it's kind of grounded in reality, but I distinctively remember one of the premise of the explication for the last case being, oh, he was able to jump from that point and that thing because he's super highly trained. And I thought it was just like, it annoyed me that they explained it by being like, oh, well, he's just better than other people. And it's not something like, I think it's kind of lazy writing.
Also that he can suppress his emotions and not feel anything or feel something different when something else arises.
It's kind of like lazy writing for me.
Baby, dual destinies, honey, that's not how emotions work. FYI.
For your information.
It's so annoying.
And then...
So you don't agree with anything I've said?
No, I do, but it wasn't just like my main point. Like the main thing I wrote down is that, and I'm not mad at like Phoenix coming back because I was thrilled, but like the mistreatment of Athena, just also... So the thing I sent you is, could you please pull on the screen when you'll edit just the message I sent?
Should I read it?
You can. It's just like, it's amazing. It makes really good points.
So Lucie just sent me a message which says, oh, you've sent this to me before.
We've discussed it before.
It says it's an account on Instagram called Respect the Potatoes, and it says, say what you will about Dual Destinies, but Simon Blackwell as a character is so funny. He has a pet bird that he uses to attack anyone he disagrees with. He was a prison inmate for a while, but they let him be a lawyer while he was serving his sentence for some reason they never clarified. He's a murderer who can break out of his chains at any time and no one cares. His lesbian MILF sister had beef with a teenager. His one friend ended up being a spy. He's a Japanese man living in America, but for some reason he acts British. None of this is ever addressed.
It's just like, him as a character is so weird. I do like him and he's really funny, but him breaking out of his shackles mid-court and like, what the fuck was that? And also, just the dark age of the law as a whole. Shut the fuck up. I hated that animation of the sky turning purple and like, ooh, look at that. It's the dark age of the law. Again, can we stop raising the stakes? In the first case, it was like, the juries, we have to have a new system because look at what happened to Phoenix. He was like, his bag was taken away. Oh, and now it's the dark age of the law, and the end justifies the mean, and we have to solve the whole thing. And then, Spirit of Justice, it goes even more. It's just like, chill out, dude. So,
and you forgot that robots are holding people hostages. That's why they have to hold the trial.
Yeah, of course.
That's one of the stakes.
Of course. Just like in the real world, you know.
It makes normal sense, babe. I wanted to say something else. Oh, I'm gonna put up, if I find it, when I was a child, talk about fucking growing up gay. I used to play with Barbies, my sister's Barbies, and there was this movie, Barbie and the Diamond Castle or the Crystal Castle or something like that. And the dolls from that game, from the doll merch line from that movie, is literally Blackwell's clothes down to the boots.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Why?
That outfit.
This should have been brought up during the
worst Yeah.
Yeah, the character design
Just like
episode.
he
But
does look like a badger.
what?
He does.
What? Why? It's
He
the
looks like a
samurai
skunk.
prosecutor.
That's what he looks like.
It's
He looks like a skunk.
it's the samurai prosecutor. Oh, I mean, can you imagine if we had a black and white themed prosecutor actually executed well in design? I hate the ponytail. I
Why
hate
and why
it.
is it so big? Like
Like
it's
a skank's
fluffy.
tail.
Yeah. I don't like
The
it.
fucking skank.
Don't like it.
So, what's your best?
And I didn't say it. Well, I could just say Turnabout Reclaimed as a whole. I think it's
Okay.
such a fun case. It gives me trilogy vibes. Cookie characters, Dr. Krabs, Norma de Bloom.
Norma the
It's
Plume.
like the characters
Talk
are
about
so
MILF.
good, you know? You defend an animal, like it's pure trilogy vibes. I love it.
Kookiness.
Cookiness, yeah. It's a fun case.
Yeah.
Um, but also because I was looking at super specific thing, um, I had a lot. I do like Dual Destiny a lot, but for some reason I had a lot of trouble finding my favorite moment. Like because I was trying to look at favorite
Hmm.
distinct moment, there wasn't one that I was standing out. Like when I think of other games, I'm like, oh, this line there, oh, this image here, and for Dual Destiny, I was kind of
Hmm.
like, I like that case, and I love Bobby Fulbright. I love him,
Hmm.
and I like this
Is it
reveal.
because you're like the reason you like this game is purely based on sentiment?
No, because like
Hmm.
for Apollo Justice and Spirit of Justice even were worst. Like at least there's stuff I like about Dual Destiny. Like there's loads of them. But just like one specific thing was hard to find. So I'd have to say either the reveal of Bobby Fulbright being the Phantom because it really caught me off guard. I was like, oh my god! Even though I don't like the logic of oh well the Phantom can do this because it's a superhuman. I did think I was like a good twist and it caught me by surprise. And the implication of like it took balls as well to kind of like sacrifice Bobby Fulbright because I do think it was one of their m most well executed new character. Like it was for
No.
sure. I do love him. Like I was looking
I
forward to
hated
see him
him
in
as a
other games.
detective.
Really, I loved him.
I hated him as a detective.
I think he
It didn't
was
make
like
sense.
one of
And
the
don't get me
best
started on
new
the fucking
character.
shoes. Don't get
Let's
me
not
started
get
on
on
the
the shoes
shoes.
because we're
No,
gonna be here
we're
tomorrow.
not. No, we're not doing the shoe thing tonight.
And
Not the shoe thing.
the other moment I wrote down is when Athena was having panic attacks, Simon was like helping her get out of them. I thought that was like a
Hmm.
really nice touch, but it was like hard to find.
Hmm.
Let's move on to the best game of
Spirit of
the
Justice.
whole series, Spirit of Justice.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
oh yes, I thought you were just saying yes and looking at me in the
No.
eyes.
Yes.
Um, is your least favorite moment Turnabout Storyteller?
No.
No. Is it like a character or
It's a lot of things. It's not as many as Dual Destinies, but
uh,
it's still a lot of things.
Karain in general?
Just try guessing, sorry, my favorite one, so I can get started on this list.
Your favorite one? Hmm, that's not a writing moment. The only two things I can think of are Nayuta's design and Garen dominatrix
But that's
outfit,
not
but that's not
writing.
writing.
Should I say?
Yeah.
So for best, I said the magical turnabout.
Oh, of course.
Lower stakes, but still really important. Like, if you lose this case, the whole fucking office is gonna close down. But no one gives a shit outside of Apollo,
Yeah,
Trucy,
that
and
was
Athena's
well
world.
done. Kind of like with Red White and how he got us into those.
Yeah. Like, I could easily see the office closing down as a final case stake. Then I said also about the magical turnabout, subtly. Subtle. I can't pronounce it. I don't know why. Subtly, like subtle.
Oh, now I can't pronounce it either.
I know.
Subtly?
Whatever. Introducing a new troop Gramarye member without making it like forcing it in, like being, do you remember this character? He didn't exist before, but he was actually around the whole time. No, he had an accident and he actually dropped out. And he's not dead. Perfect. And then I said efficiently and effectively creating a non-exhausting case with one investigation. It only has one investigation and they cover everything. And then lastly, for the magical turnabout, I said the Apollo x Athena dynamic and how it reminded me of Phoenix and Maya. The dialogue in that case is excellent. And like the moments you take away from it, really good. And then the other two best things about Spirit of Justice was handling a civil trial, which I hated for Stolen Turnabout, but I really enjoyed playing with
Phoenix and like Apollo.
Yeah,
politician style.
That brings me on to something really bad, which I forgot to write down, but I'm really happy I mentioned it now. And you mentioned it as well. But the last thing about the best parts of Spirit of Justice is Dirk's secret that he's been hiding in Maya's body. Now for worst, let me just reiterate the thing that I was thinking about when I said handling a civil trial. Pitting Apollo versus Phoenix was absolutely the most sacrilegious thing they could ever do in the history of this series. It means that Phoenix actually loses his first ever case. Well, I mean, if you don't consider the case of Zach Gramarye. No. The Zach Gramarye
thing. The one where he was framed?
Yeah, he lost his badge. If you don't consider that as a loss, it means that he lost to Apollo.
Once again.
No.
Don't disrespect the myth.
No. What? And pinning them against each other. And they used it in the trailer for Spirit of Justice again as well. I saw some trailers a few months back, and at the end of the trailer, to build up anticipation, it was kind of like Phoenix versus fucking Apollo. I was like, what?
Who's root for Apollo?
And we play as Apollo, not Phoenix.
Yeah.
And then here goes the list. Athena getting further sidelined and her solo case being taken over by Blackquill. Khurain, the land of no lawyers. Let's just ponder that, like consider that for a moment. The land where lawyers are hated. Nayuta as a horribly flawed character. Maya's return having zero impact and basically being associated with this game. With capital letters, muddling Apollo's backstory to the point of no return. And I know you tried in a previous Turnabout podcast episode to unpack it and explain Apollo's backstory. Please attempt to do that again when I finish this list, because it's one of the things that really gets under my skin about this series is Apollo's multiple backstories. I want to break something right now. We're truly nerds. Forgettable villains with horrible names. Turnabout storytellers localization. Doing a truly bad job at... I had to Google and look up what do they call it? Is it tabuki?
No, it's...
Like what storytelling is.
Oh, yeah, I think so.
Is it tabuki?
I think so. There's a whole thing with udon noodles as well. Those stuff.
Yeah, I don't want to come off. We don't want to come across as racist or ignorant. It's just that if you're selling a game to the entire world and it's Japanese, you have to do a good job at explaining.
Yeah, I'm always super excited where there's like Japanese element in the games. It's just if your case relies on it and we don't have an investigation, so we don't get to explore it, it's going to be very confusing.
It's not like Crash Bandicoot that has like a Japanese level. It's not just setting. It's actually about the story and how like the man who was murdered was like resting in between acts and was cooking soba and shit like that. And like, you expect me to know how you cook soba?
Yeah.
What?
Because there's like so many things that go in. Like he has an allergy to wheat, and it was very hard to understand.
Also, I kind of want to give them credit for having the balls not to include an investigation for a case and it not being a first case. It's like Trials and Tribulations with Turnabout Beginnings, but they didn't execute it well. And then I said Phoenix not telling Trucy and Apollo their siblings, and again, not having the jury system return.
Okay, that's a pretty good list. Do you want me to try to explain Apollo's backstory now?
Yes.
Okay. So Apollo is born from Thalassa, Lemuror, and this other dude, Jove Justice or something like that.
Yeah, who isn't even giving a I was reading this today. I was reading about C.C. Hughes' name from investigations. And in the notes for her character on the Wikia, it says she and Jove Justice are the only characters who are pivotal to the story through flashbacks, but are the only two people in the series who don't have profiles in the people section of the court record. That sucks.
That sucks. So they get together, have a kid. For some reason, Thalassa leaves. And so Jove takes care of baby Apollo and takes him to Khura'in, where he meets one day the queen and the king of the country, have dinner with them.
Really?
Oh, oops.
Okay.
A bad guy puts the house on fire. Oh, no.
Who is it?
Oh, it's Queen Garen. Oh, no.
What?
The whole house burns, but Durkee manages to save the baby. Apollo, the dad perished. So then Apollo comes to live with Durkee in the mountains of Khura'in with Nayuta for like 8 years, but then is sent back to America for some reason. It's never explained.
But how and where does he live?
He lives in an orphanage, of course.
What?
And in the orphanage becomes friends with a guy that's really into stars. And then
Clay Terran.
And then for some reason he manages to go to law school. And
it's also important to say that after school, while returning home to a home he didn't have because he didn't know his mom and Durkee didn't live in the States, I don't know how he could afford to go to school or where he was walking after school, but he and Clay, they used to visit the space station.
Yes.
Yes.
And he and Clay would go and talk about the stars, and then I guess he would go back to the what the fuck it's called, orphanage. But and then he just got into law school and started to work for Kristoff, and then discovered Kristoff was a killer and started to work on his own. And then guess what? All of this backstory is now related to his trials. Isn't that crazy?
Really?
When everything that's happened to you in your past comes to bite you in the ass at your job.
So you're telling me Apollo Justice, the protege of Phoenix Wright, actually grew up in the land where Phoenix's old assistant goes to train?
Isn't that crazy?
What? The coincidences Wow.
Insane. Just
Yeah.
so crazy.
You know what that is?
A pure coincidence.
No, it's what's it called? It's actually called bad writing.
Oh, I've heard about that. Yeah.
It's bad writing.
I get
It's
that.
bad writing.
I get that.
Perfect. I'm really happy we're friends.
Me too. Do you want me to tell me what are mine?
We're absolute clowns. That's what we
Clowns.
are.
That's clown shit.
Clown college. And that's obviously what the Spirit of Justice writers attended. Clown college.
Clown college.
So your best and worst, I'd have to say best is either Durkhe's Secret or Rafa and Phoenix's relationship.
Okay, you got it right. It's Turkey's Secret. First one right. Yeah, I was like caught off guard by it. It was like when he tells you he's sick, it's really, really, I think it's nicely done. The other one is a very precise stuff. I did like when Nayuta finally rebels, like a dragon never yields, and there's the thing with his hand, and he shows his tattoo. I thought
I
it
was
was
just
like,
about to say, it's a nice phrase.
it's really cool, and that moment was really nice. I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
it's kind of cool. So those were my two favorite things, but I do love Raifa too, and her dynamic with Phoenix. It's more
Is
fun.
worse the entire game?
No. You've like said loads of really interesting things. Like Apollo's backstory is infuriating. Every game seems to have a new backstory for Apollo. It's just so I'm sick of it. I am sick of it. Nayuta was very frustrating. But what I wrote down is such a precise thing. And something that infuriated me when I played the game. Okay, so Durkee is channeled by two person. First being Maya. The second one, do you remember who it is?
No.
It's Queen Amara. You know, you can't find her once you found Maya, and she's the one channeling Durkee. She has white hair. Durkee has dark hair. How would that work? And that always infuriated because we've already seen with both Mia and Pearls and Dahlia in Maya's body that it's the hair color of the person whose body belongs to. And so I kept the game being like, that doesn't make sense. And throughout the game, it was never explained. So I had to Google like a fucking nerd and be like, why is that? To find out that it's never explained, but supposedly she uses like a temporary hair dye. But it really annoyed me. Like, how can you have...
That is like telling me Apollo teleported back to the States and attended school magically. No. Another really good part from Spirit of Justice that I forgot to mention, I really liked, and it was kind of touching when I kind of liked how there's this underground rebellion going on. Although I don't like the land of no lawyers, I really like that there's a rebellion and that people who initially didn't help out Phoenix, for example, the widow, actually turned out to be rebels.
Yeah.
And I think it was really touching when she severed Maya and her husband's bodies with the red Magatama. I think that was really cool. And it was kind of touching.
Yeah, definitely. It
like
showed like character growth.
Yeah.
Definitely. And speaking of character growth, my last point that I didn't like is Maya and Pearls did not grow up in 8 years. They both have the same exact personality. Pearl is always this innocent, and it's disappointing because like I would have been fine without Maya being like, you know, I think that I like what they did in Apollo Justice when she sends Phoenix a card once he gets hit by a car. Like, oh, she's still around, but we don't necessarily see her. And just having her come back, but being the exact same person, it's kind of like, and still the same. It kind of feels like she's being frozen in time and doesn't regrows. And I don't know. I thought Maya was gonna be different when she's 28.
Can I say something?
Yes.
That basically sums it up. Like, you have some really three strong games, and then Apollo Justice was a mistake, but as big a mistake as it was even a bigger mistake not sticking to it. That's why I said Apollo Justice is where the writing starts to go bad, because it's not consistent. The trilogy is a whole trilogy. The second trilogy is just 3 different games.
Exactly. And like Pearls, I think Pearls is the most shocking because she goes from being 8 to 16 or 17, and you're not the same person. Like, why would her outfit be the same? Why would her demeanor be the same? It's kind of just make them grow, you know. So that was my other point.
We're at 1:32 minutes, 1 hour and 32 minutes, and we still have 2 more to cover.
I know. Should we do it like rapid fires, like try to be more quick? Lists. You have lists? Okay, go for it, baby. Let's not guess for the next 2.
Okay. So Investigations is short. I just said best
wait. Is it Callisto You?
No.
Okay, go.
Best part of Investigation is Franziska von Karma's character development.
I'm nodding.
We can all universally agree on that.
Oh, Franziska, baby.
And then I said Callisto Yu's secret is a good writing. I like the concept of the Yatagarasu. Great handling of returning characters and in-game references, such as Wendy Oldbag, Emma Skye, Larry Butts, Mike Meekins, The Still Samurai, and Mask the Mask. And this is what I had to say.
Okay.
And for worst, I said Edgeworth not feeling like a protagonist. I said Edgeworth missing story arc. He's not given anything to do in this game. You just play as Edgeworth, but you really just you play as yourself.
I get that. It's kind of bland.
Yeah. And then I said the Kidnap Turnabout structure and characters. Actually, I was talking with Snap about this because he's currently on that case. I told him it has a really strong setup. Like, the setting is an amusement park. Edgeworth gets kidnapped. You have 2 really nicely written characters introduced, which is Kay Faraday and Shilong Lang. And you have wild blue badgers on the loose. And then, like, instead of the game helping you work out who's in which costume, and if there's like a group of thieves or like who's messing with Edgeworth, it all becomes this like family soap opera drama with the Amano group involved and like backstory needed for the last case, which I made it one of the cases which I hate the most. And then I said the overall plot being difficult to follow. Again, with the Amano group, you have the 2 embassies, you have the assassination of Bern Faraday. That whole thing confused me as hell. They made it really confusing.
Definitely. A bit hard to follow.
So what's yours? If you remember anything from that game.
I had trouble finding stuff to say.
Of course.
My favorite one was Callisto You Reveal.
Yeah.
It was so well executed, and I do remember it. I was like, oh, I do remember. Actually, one of your best thing is in my worst list. I really didn't like the way they handled Emma Skye. I feel like she just was brought in as a prop and kind of discarded. I do agree with the other characters, like Wendy Oldbag and like Still Samurai and Mask the Mask. It was really like it felt like it was in a coherent world. I just have issue with like the way, for me, first of all, I don't really remember well, but from what I remember, like MSK was just like kind of here just for her forensic tool, and then kind of thrown out.
I'll admit that I agree, because in Investigations 2, I put her in the worst.
And it's kind of like,
The
because
other
there's
characters,
K, it doesn't really make
the
sense.
other characters are given something to do, but Emma Sky is just like, come in, do your science shit, and then go. So I agree, that's just part of the worst.
Whereas like Wendy Ilbag felt really good because she wasn't like really used. She was just like their part of the world. But for Emma, it was
and
kind
in
of
two
like,
cases as well.
Yeah. So that was my worst and best.
That's all.
That's all. Yes.
Oh my god.
Ew. Okay. For Investigation 2, I already know you have loads to say.
The length of the list for best is the same as worst for Dual Destinies.
Oh my god.
So here's what I said for best. How every case connects to the overall plot. Simon Keyes. Having two presidents. The Grand Turnabout. Sebastian the Best story arc. Blaze using the wig as his beard. Gregory Edgeworth. Breaking Ace Attorney tropes and stereotypes, such as the last case being the lengthiest. Edgeworth's journey as a prosecutor and the shift in ethics and morality, as opposed to the first game where he's not given nothing to do. Here he is undecided on whether or not he should be a prosecutor. Great tutorial case and great handling of returning characters and in-game universe references, such as Loda, Larry, Shelley the Killer, Frank Saw It, Regina Berry. The Inherited Turnabout's flashback feeling natural to the story. Yeah. And then, and by the way, I forgot to mention this about you're breaking up a lot.
I am. I can hear you fine.
I forgot to say the things about this thing. There's one thing about the list that I forgot to add in Trials and Tribulations and Justice for All. Great writing for a tutorial level. How do you reintroduce the controls? You have the main character have temporary amnesia, and then you have it be a completely different character. It's Mia. That's great writing. And then for Investigations 2, for worst, I had to say Justine Courtney and Raymond Shields.
For worst?
Are you gasped?
Yeah, I'm gasping.
Why?
I like Justine Courtney.
Yeah, but she doesn't have a good... She's not a good character.
I do get that.
She doesn't have a personality.
It's confusing writing. Like, why are you so willing to frame the good guy, you know?
And Raymond Shields hugging. And then I said murder methods not explained well at all.
Yeah, for sure.
Blaze being shown again with the beard even after burning it. What? And Emma Sky.
Okay.
But that's all of it. Like, I think it's one of the best written. Like, it's as good as the trilogy's writing. Definitely.
Like the way every case is linked to the overarching story, and there's no filler cases, which is so great.
Yeah,
like,
it's
there's
brilliant.
no useless case. From the way you introduce Yours Knightley, then he's killed. It's just it has like such a nice flow. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I wrote down, I think also something that I didn't write down, but I think is really good, like, way to introduce, like, the introduction to the Inherited Turnabout is a case we've heard about but never explored, and I thought it was so clever. Like, they didn't make up a new, like, oh, this is a case, oh, we've never talked to you about this, but this is actually really important. No, they actually took something that we've actually heard about and made it their own. I really like that. But my favorite moment of that game is the end of the Inherited Turnabout, when he gives the picture, and it's kind of like Edgeworth and his dad, and it's so good. The themes of this game are spot on with, like, like parent and children and what's it, like inheritance, basically, like what you inherit.
Yeah.
And Sebastian whole story arc and setting up for himself, and Edgeworth setting up for himself in a way too. Like it's really, 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 really good.
The theme of inheriting is consistent throughout.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It's really, really
like
good.
Like parent-child. Like
exactly.
then Gustavia and Isaac Daver's children
Justin
inherited...
Courtney, John Martian the President, stuff like that. It's really
Lauda Hart
done.
being a mentor to Nicole Swift.
Yeah.
Even that.
Just
perfect.
Like, Lauda Hart returning was so well done. Like, she doesn't feel out of place. It's consistent. It's coherent for her to be. It's just really good.
It's just thinking about this game's writing is it's excellent. Like there's themes, there's not all characters are sympathetic, and the designs might be horrible, like Karen Injection, but like, and Shilong Lang losing all of his apprentices, but then coming back full circle in Grand Turnabout again, Inheritance. It's such a good game. I'm so sad it's not more popular. It deserves better.
It's as great writing, and for worst moment, once a game I chose a tiny element, something that kind of bothered me when I was playing. The way the balloon crushes the president like, why would the flower be on top? Like, do you see a balloon coming to this? Like, it's very confusing to me. And it was kind of like the receipts in the first game, like, really? That happened like this?
Yeah.
That was my worst moment. My worst writing moment.
Oh my god. So yeah.
That was the episode.
At 1 hour and 42 minutes.
So long. So incredibly long.
But so worth it.
So worth it. I'm really happy we discussed this because I think it was really nice to find like one scene that you love in each of them. And it's an amazing series. It just is.
Yeah.
It has some a bit dodgy moments and some very bad moments. But it remains an excellent series.
So, should we wrap it up at... I'm parched. My throat is burning because I hadn't had water throughout all this time.
Well, what are you gonna do right now, Aris?
I'm going to go up to the roof and remove the water tank from the top of the roof and start drinking the water from inside.
Amazing, like an animal.
Yes, like such a barbaric animal. What about you, Lucie? What are you gonna do next?
I have a strong urge to remove my makeup.
Really?
I keep rubbing my eyes and my mascara is in the way.
Perfect.
All right, well, on that note of one parched animal and one sleepy bitch, we are gonna see you next week.
Yes. Thank you very much for tuning in, and thank you for tolerating us for almost 2 hours. We hope you enjoyed this video. And
thank you.
Our best and worst writing moments.
See you next week.
So without further ado.
And have fun.
See you next week, guys.
Bye.
Good night.